As promised, today we are going to be going over John Mayer's pedalboard with Dead & Company at the Residency at the Sphere. My personal stance on it was that I just didn't want to reveal what pedals he was using until after the Residency had ended, which is now, so we're going to dive right on into the pedalboard here. We have a couple of shots that we've gotten of the board, actually. Surprisingly enough, I honestly didn't really think we were going to get anything that concrete to ever make its way out, but we have some pretty decent shots, some from just the screen when the camera pans over kind of the stage there and you get the right kind of brief look at John's pedalboard. So we do have some really good images to go off of and base, everything that John was actually using, which is really nice. Alright, so starting off with the very first row here, one thing you guys can kind of take note is that off to the right side of the board, John does have 4 different volume pedals. This is something we've seen him using with Dead & Company for a while now, and essentially it just controls his in-ear monitor mix for what he actually can hear, so he can have the drums, the vocals, and just kind of adjust the mix to whatever his personal preference is, which is something that's really cool that he can just adjust on the fly for whatever he feels he needs. Now, on the physical pedal board to start off, it looks like the Shins Music Perfect volume pedal is the very first pedal that we see on there, just based on what it looks like in the few angles we do have of the board. That's what that first pedal actually looks like, followed by the exotic XW1 wah, John's just favorite wah pedal of choice for forever now. It's absolutely brilliant, I can say that. TC Electronics Polytune as well would be the tuner that you see after the wah pedal and the volume pedal. Then we move on to kind of a bit of the gain stages in terms of the pedal board. You start off first with an Ibanez TS10, of course just the standard thing you expect from John. Then you have an exotic Super Clean, followed by the JHS pedals box it later. Then we have the exotic Super Sweet placed after it in the all red enclosure. Then the last pedal there kind of is an Origin Effects pedal. Very impossible to say for 100% certainty what it is, but John's very much favored the slide rig as his go-to compressor in recent years, so I'm willing to bet that this is an Origin Effects slide rig. Moving on to the second row, there is one pedal that we can see that is placed sideways above the exotic wah pedal, and from this one shot that we have here, to me, it looks like it's going to be that script phase 90 that we've seen John using quite often with Dead & Company. The orange lines up as well. It doesn't appear to be one of the mini size pedal enclosures. So I'm going with that this is a script phase 90 that we're seeing just kind of tucked in there, and they made it work for the board. It's massive. The pedal board that John's been using with Dead & Company lately for the past couple of tours has been just so massive. I'm here for it. I think it's incredible, but it just goes to show all the different sounds and everything he's really trying to capture for the tones with Dead & Company. They had to squeeze in the phase 90 just in there, but it works. Then we have a Boss OC3, John's kind of go-to octave pedal of choice. We're assuming it's the OC3 because we haven't seen him ever move to the OC5 yet. He just seems to really enjoy the OC3 tones, so Boss OC3. Then we have another exotic Super Clean right there. Now the next pedal is the Electro Harmonix Qtron Plus. Is it possible that this other Super Clean is in the loop of the Qtron Plus? Because John's frequently done that with the Keeley Katanas, having one in the effects loop of the Qtron Plus. No Keeley Katana on this pedal board actually, so is the Super Clean what John's using maybe in the effects loop? It's kind of hard to tell from shots we have of the Qtron. So as mentioned, the very next pedal is Electro Harmonix Qtron Plus, and like I said, I haven't been able to see any angle where you can actually tell if there's something in the effects loop of the pedal or not, but that's just a theory I have as to why there's another exotic Super Clean. As well, maybe if you're wondering why there's no Keeley Katanas, number one, the exotic Super Clean is an absolutely brilliant pedal, but also just for real estate space on the pedal board, going with these mini pedal sizes over a full-size Keeley Katana just kind of makes sense in just due to the fact that John just doesn't have the space for a full-size Keeley Katana on the board. So the Super Cleans being on there as well just really help him squeeze everything he wants on the pedal board and still get a really incredible sounding clean boost. Up next, we have the Way Huge Aquapus Mark II. Of course, John very frequently uses the original Mark I, either the AP1 or AP2 versions, but as well on a lot of pedal boards, we've seen him using the Mark to Octopus, and that's what we're seeing him use here. Next to it is that blacked out Klon Centaur. So that is the very last kind of gain stage pedal we're seeing there. And again, just due to real estate space, the Klon is actually up on that second row on the very far left. So if John had to do any tap dancing for Tube Screamer and Klon Centaur, you know, which he's probably going to do, it's the spacing, unfortunately, isn't very ideal for this pedal board. That's kind of the one thing that jumps out to me in terms of this version of the Dead & Company pedal board. And we've seen that Klon Centaur on the second row before, just again due to spacing issues. But the tap dancing from the TS10 to up to the Klon Centaur, that's not the easiest and most ergonomically friendly pedal board kind of layout that he has. But he's working obviously with what he kind of needs to do and what works as best, I'm sure, as they tried out. Now we're moving along to that third row on the pedal board, the very back row. We're starting off with the 29 pedals Una. This appears to be kind of an always on thing that John is using, and I assume it's actually at the very start of the chain would be what John's using, and then running and buffering the entire signal and getting that EQ tweaking as well that you can get from the Una. Next is a Source Audio programmable EQ, the very first version. We've never seen John move to the kind of newer version of that pedal. It's always that original one. I'll throw up a shot of what that exact version looks like on the screen for you guys, but that's the version that John is using. The next pedal is one that we've seen John using as well, but I don't believe it's ever been actually on a physical pedal board. It was for the Palladium show for Sob Rock, but never actually on a full-on pedal board that you'd use for kind of an entire tour or residency in this case, and it's the Exotic X Blender. Now the X Blender has actually been in the rack unit with Dead & Company before, but never actually just on that physical pedal board, so not a new pedal to the context of Dead & Company, but new on the pedal board. Then we have the Boss CE2, just the blacked out version John mainly uses. He has one as well that's not blacked out. We've seen him use before, but just kind of consistently the same blacked out version. Then is the JHS Pedals Artificial Blonde. That's a somewhat new pedal that John's been really enjoying, obviously, lately. He's used it in the past with Dead & Company as well, so seeing a return of the Artificial Blonde, which is really cool. But the next pedal, if you can call it a pedal, is perhaps the coolest addition to John's rig in my opinion, really since Sob Rock. I think this is the coolest thing since maybe the TSV 808 getting added, and I think this is actually cooler than that even, and it is the Korg SDD 3000. I'm a massive fan of the Edge's guitar tone as well, and seeing this in the early kind of shots and kind of teasers almost where we see partial kind of shots of John's pedal board for the Sphere shows. When I first saw that thing, I went, oh my goodness, that is just an incredible delay. So the fact that John is using it, I'd wanted one already, but now I'm pretty much at the point where, okay, I gotta get one, and they're not cheap. But the fact that he's using this, I think is just absolutely wild. And then to round off the pedal board, we have the Strymon Flint, and on the very kind of first row, the very far left of the pedal board, we have a Moog EP expression pedal, and that's actually connected to the Strymon Flint. It's a system that John's been using in the past with Dead & Company as well. Same setup that we're seeing here with the Strymon Flint having an expression pedal into it. So that rounds out the entire pedal board. Really cool to see kind of, you know, an actual really decent shot of John's pedal board and some kind of closer up shots as well, just from the Sphere screen as you're scrolling around. But yeah, this is what John was using for the Sphere Residency. It's an absolute spaceship of a pedal board, a ton of gear on it, but there's so many tones that John is wanting to cover, and obviously as he dives deeper and deeper into Jerry Garcia's sound, but also his version of kind of that Dead & Company guitar tone, the Grateful Dead guitar tone, he's obviously tweaking and finding the sounds that he really wants. And the fact that he just has a pedal board that's this big goes to show the care and effort that John is really putting into all of his guitar tones for all the different tracks that they are playing. So this is just really cool to see, and yeah, I'm a massive fan of it. So there you guys go. That's John Mayer's Dead & Company Sphere pedal board. Like I said, I just wanted to wait out of respect for John. I know he likes to kind of be a little bit secretive about his gear, and you know, I feel like he would get annoyed if I just posted a video right away talking about pedals that we've seen, like if I'm using the SS or the SDD 3000, being like right away when we saw that, oh, John's using this delay pedal now. Like he said, he's blacked out pedals in the past because he doesn't want the price of things going up just because he wants to try something out. So I'm trying to respect that, but still give you guys the right information and go over it as well. So waiting till the Sphere Residency had ended, that was my compromise that I thought would be good, and I feel good about doing. So if you guys enjoyed this video, thank you so much. Give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next video.